I actually was gifted this book by my sister for Christmas like a couple years ago, because she knew it was going to be coming out on Hulu, and she was like, well, you like to read, sister, so why don't you read this book that's going to be becoming a TV series? And I was like, okay, yep, great, sounds good. Life happened. I got busy. I got intrigued by other books. And to be honest, when I read the description of the book, I was just like, I just am not interested enough to put down my other books and to pick up this one. So it had been sitting on my shelf all these years, and I always look at it and I'm like, maybe today will be the day I pick up Little Fires Everywhere. My school is doing a book club for teachers. We're in California. We're still on 100% distance learning, and so the school wanted to try to help lift up morale, lift up spirits, and we've been having a book club once a month just so us teachers can socialize and say hi to each other, basically. So we read When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. For our first book, I will do a review on that book as well. It was amazing. And Little Fires Everywhere was our book for November. So I actually just finished the book a couple of weeks ago. And to be honest, it was a book that I had to force myself to read. But once I got into it, I was glad that I forced myself. I had just been really busy in November, and I usually read every night, and I was so busy and tired that I wasn't able to read every night, and I was interested in a different book series at the time. It's called The Wrath and the Dawn. I will also do a video on that, and I was so invested in that book and the sequel that I just was like, I don't want to pick up this book. But as the due date came for the book to be completed for the book club, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a week left, and I am only on the first 3 chapters. The book, when it starts, to me, why I couldn't quite get into it is because there was a lot of characters. So in the story, it follows the main characters, Mia and Elena. They are both moms, but drastically different. One is a single mom and her daughter, just her and her daughter, and they're just struggling. She's an artist, and just because she really has wanted to maintain being an artist, they have just had to sacrifice on some things. We then have Elena's family. There is, how to do math in my head, 4 kids, and they live in this place called Shaker Heights. Fun fact, Shaker Heights is actually a real place, and the author, Celeste, she grew up in Shaker Heights, and so I think that's really cool when an author can take their life experiences and transform it into this story to kind of share their own experiences that they actually went through. So anyways, in this story, it follows these 2 mothers, but then just when it's hard to keep track of the 2 mothers and their own stories, there gets thrown in this adoption. So there is a married couple in the book that they adopt a Chinese baby. And this baby had been abandoned when it was young, I think about 4 months old, at a fire station. And so part of the book explores this idea of adoption, but then you also have Elena and Mia who live very different lifestyles. And ultimately the book is trying to teach us a multitude of lessons, but the biggest one about being what it means to be a mother. Because in society, we sometimes label people and we put them in a corner. For example, we take surveys all the time that ask us, are you male or female? Or what is your ethnicity? Are you African American? Are you Hispanic? Are you white? And people feel like they have to put themselves in one checkbox, knowing that we can exist in multiple checkboxes. So in this story, it's hitting on this idea that everybody has a different kind of opinion on what it means to be a good mother. And ultimately what happens is with this Chinese baby, the couple that adopted her, the birth mom comes back and they go into a battle in the court to try to essentially decide who gets to keep the baby. And to me, I'm not a mother. I don't have children right now. So part of me, when I was reading the book, it did feel hard to relate to, because I don't really have an idea of what motherhood should be like, because I am not a mother myself. But I do think it was good to read the story, because it really asked you to think about those types of questions. Who really gets to decide who's a good mom? Who gets to decide if you're a good person, right? Everybody has different ways of feeling and seeing things, and we have different opinions, and who's to say that that person's right versus wrong when you disagree with that person. So again, this story, it's hard for me to get into it, but once you got into it, there was just layers to the characters, and you start to learn kind of why their lives are the way that they are, which maybe influences their decisions. And I do think that Celeste did a good job at really trying to develop her characters. Now let's talk about the not the Netflix series, the Hulu series. Right after the book, watched the Hulu series, and the Hulu series is very different from the book. So I don't want to spoil that for you, but I will say that the Hulu series I did enjoy, because they took the characters that Celeste had already, portrayed in the novel, and in the series they expanded and deepened those characters. So in the TV series, we learn a little bit more about the backstories of Elena and Mia, the two moms, that in the book there isn't that much depth. So I did like that the series kind of took it that next step. I binge watched the whole thing because I'm just like that. I get excited about something, and that's just all I want to do. So I just kind of sat episode after episode and after episode until I finished it. I went to my mom's house that weekend, and she's also an avid reader, and we like to read some of the same books sometimes, and we like to watch TV series together. So I knew she was kind of looking for a new show to start, because she had just finished Virginia River, I think is the name of the Netflix show. She just finished it and was like, I need something new to watch. And so I told her about Little Fires Everywhere. She has not read the book, so I told her a little backstory about it. And I said, hey, Mom, I think you would really like this TV series. She's obviously a mother to me and to my older sister. She was a single parent at one point when my parents divorced. So I think she could relate to it a little more maybe than I could. So she ended up binge watching the whole thing over the weekend. And when she finished it, she called me and was like, oh my gosh, is that really like how it ends? And I was like, yeah. So I would definitely recommend this book. Again, if you're like me and it's really hard for you to get into the story, I just challenge you to kind of push through that and remind yourself, if this is motivating for you, that there is a TV series. So let that be your motivation to finish the book if you're also struggling. But if you've read it already and you've enjoyed it, or if you're planning to read it, I hope that this video convinces you to read it. If not, my feelings won't be hurt and all will be well. So again, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, my name is Haley, Peridot Books. Please make sure you click subscribe, like the video, share the video. I'm also on Instagram, peridot.books. I try to post a couple times a week, really just beautiful pictures illustrating just how magical reading is. So if you are Instagram, please check out my page. I will see you next time.